Hello everybody, this is Star Raptor here, and this is another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon. Now every week I tell you guys about all the latest in Star Wars continuity, ranging from the comics, to the TV series, to the novels, and to the video games. With this week, it was another really busy week in Star Wars. First of all, we had the long-awaited launch of The Force Awakens on Blu-ray. So here I have the Target exclusive packaging, which includes the 20 minutes of additional footage. What did I think about the packaging? It was actually pretty lackluster to me. I thought I was getting something more than this. I was disappointed because, as you see here, there's not much to it. It's pretty flimsy. I mean, yeah, the cover's nice, but kind of what they redeem themselves with is the nice fold-out sections here. Yeah, that's pretty cool if you can see that. So I enjoyed that. So that is the physical appearance of it. As far as the content, of course, I was going to buy it regardless of what extras were included because this is The Force Awakens here. I mean, this, in my eyes, is the second best Star Wars film. I rank The Force Awakens. Basically, it goes from Star Wars movies, it goes from Empire, The Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, and Phantom Menace is my order. So I really love The Force Awakens. And you can see more about that in my review. I will link later in the video here. As far as extras are concerned, for Star Wars release, I was also a little disappointed. I mean, we didn't get a commentary. There was no concept art, any kind of commentary on the concept art. All the little featurettes, I guess you call them, were pretty short. They were only like 7 minutes long. I remember from the Blu-ray collection I have, it's just like 20 extra hours at least of additional extras. I think on the Blu-ray here, it's probably only about, maybe like 3 hours at most of extra content besides the movie, so that was a little bland, and it seems to me like the Blu-ray is just kind of like the first iteration of what's to come next. I think they're probably going to have like the trilogy release of the sequel trilogy, then maybe we'll get our commentary. But what I did enjoy on the Blu-ray was the big feature-length documentary called The Secrets of the Force Awakens. Now that was really, really nicely filmed, produced. I actually felt I got the feels a little bit when they started talking about the actors and doing the table reads and all of that. That was really cool, seeing how this came from George Lucas selling the company off up until after until the release of the film. They kind of go through the whole timeline of the process: pre-production, production, post-production. So it was really neat. I'm a big sucker for learning about the effects, the visual effects, the practical effects. I really love that, so I was happy to see that, but I just wish there was a little more to the Blu-ray, and it's also on DVD, and it's also on digital as well. So that is the Blu-ray. What do you guys think of the Blu-ray digital release, DVD? Let me know in the comment section below what you thought. Next up, we have a new novel. Well, not really new, but we have Tales from a Galaxy Far, Far Away, Aliens. This is pretty cool. This actually, there's 6 short stories in this novel, but there was originally 4 of those were actually released back in, I want to say, November or December, in digital format. So these are all written by Landry Walker. And the cool thing about these is, as mentioned, there are 6 short stories, so they all are standalone type of stories that are based about shortly before The Force Awakens. So we have different kind of genres, which is really cool. And mind you, this is a young reader's book, so there's like 350 pages, but of course the pages are shorter and there's less text per page, so you can blow through this thing in like a day or 2 days easily. Really, really quick, fun reads. For instance, like there's the tale of the Cayusa Constable Zuvio. He's on Jakku, and that's more of a cowboy kind of western story. Then you have a story about Unker Plutt, who is in a love story. You have to read more to find out about that. You have the cryptologist, the two sisters. That's like a horror movie story where they change the appearance of somebody. Um, then you have the chef, the sous chef in Takodana and Mazkanata's Palace. That's like a murder mystery type story. Then you have Baba Joe, who was that first practical creature we've seen, who is like that actually revolves around him like telling a story about him being on the Death Star. Rather, we don't know if he was telling the truth or is he just telling stories. So that was really interesting. And we also have the story of the Red Corsair. That was really cool. It was basically a pirate story. They're after this treasure of Count Dooku, and they are on these sail barges. You got swoop gangs in there. You got, jumping ships to ships, fighting people. It was just a kick-ass story. I like that one the most. Definitely the Red Corsair is one of those characters I'm really intrigued in, and I'll tease something a little bit here in that story. There is some Clone Wars things that come back around. So I mean, at this point, we're talking in like far removed, like 50 years from Clone Wars. So it's really cool whenever we get connections that are from that. So definitely check this out. Um, I really enjoyed it. It's a really fun read. And finally, what I've been waiting for a long time, we've had new in Marvel Comics is Poe Dameron #1, our first ongoing post Return of the Jedi story about Poe Dameron and the Resistance. Also show off, that was the regular cover. I also got the good old variant edition. I'll try to get it without the gloss. Yeah, it's hard with the gloss there. I don't like to take it out of the package because I don't want it to get messed up. I want it to be pristine. So, what did I think of Poe Dameron #1? I really like this book. So simply put, the plot is it kind of takes place right before the Force Awakens. We got Poe Dameron getting a mission from Leia Organa Solo to go find Lor San Tekka because, as we know, Lor San Tekka knows the whereabouts of Luke Skywalker, or at least part of the whereabouts with the partial map that he has in Force Awakens. So that's the story. So this is kind of like the beginnings of the journey. Obviously, it's Poe Dameron getting his crew together to go out on this mission and find Lor San Tekka. Of course, along the way, he finds people that knew of Lor San Tekka. There are these spiritual people that somehow, for some reason, really worship this egg, and they're very protective of it, and they don't like any interlopers or outsiders coming in and wanting to do anything with them. So you see this kind of tension between Poe Dameron and the residents of that planet. And then at the end there, we have the First Order making an appearance. So really great way to start off the post Return of the Jedi ongoing series with this book. I really love Poe Dameron. There wasn't really any characters I didn't like in Force Awakens, but Poe Dameron definitely stood out to me as, he's a hotshot pilot, Plus he's got BB-8, so we're going to have BB-8 as a main character throughout this series. So what's not to love about BB-8? He's such a great character. And going into more specific of the positives of this issue of Poe Dameron #1, great action from the beginning, really showcasing off the flight skill of Poe Dameron in his signature black X-wing. I mean, how cool is that, guys? He has a black X-wing, black and orange. Hey, that's my high school's colors. So gotta love it. Great tone, by the way. It's that that swashbuckling kind of Saturday morning that kind of tone that just breathes Star Wars. And Poe Dameron is really represented very well, both visually and in dialogue. Phil Nato does an awesome job in recreating him. As you know, he also did the Chewbacca miniseries that came out back in October. So we have a veteran as well as Charles Soule, the writer, who's also a veteran, to Star Wars. He's pretty much just the go-to guy for Star Wars anymore. I mean, he started out with the Lando miniseries, and he actually is still currently writing the Obi-Wan and Anakin series, and now he's doing the oncoming Poe Dameron series. So I have ultimate trust with Charles Soule and pulling off the character of Poe Dameron and really fleshing out the prelude to The Force Awakens, and you just the banter between Poe Dameron and BB-8 is just so realistic to how they are in the film. I feel like I'm watching a prequel to The Force Awakens, just flipping through these pages, which is something you need to have a strong character base going into a very important ongoing series such as this. And this is really cool too, because there's a lot of connections in this comic. So this picks up. There's a book out there by Greg Rucka, and Phil Noda also did some of the artwork in this, called Before the Awakening. It's a young reader novel that pretty much tells the story of Poe Dameron, Rey, and Finn right before the Awakening. Obviously, it's in the title. So there's a nice story about the origins of Poe Dameron joining the Resistance. So it shows off the adventures of Poe Dameron working for the Republic, and then leaving the Republic to join the Resistance with Leia, and she picks up right where the comic picks up, is her telling Poe to go search for Lor San Tekka. So it's really cool seeing those connections in there. And also, like, the amount of characters that are in Poe's group is really cool. So he has the members of Lula, who was in Shattered Empire, who is the Duros A-Wing pilot. Then we also have Carrie, whatever her last name is. She was actually one of the pilots that left the Republic to join Poe with the Resistance. She's a female pilot, obviously. We also have Jessica Pava, who was she's in The Force Awakens, but she's also one of those young reader books. I think it's the one with Luke Skywalker, if I'm not mistaken, Weapon of a Jedi. I think she's in there, in the prelude and epilogue or whatever. We also have an Abednego character. I'm not sure if he's the same guy that's in The Force Awakens that gets shot down. And we also have Snap Wexley, and it's cool because they make a reference to Snap Wexley. As we know, he's in The Force Awakens, but we first met him in Aftermath, and he's 16 years old, and you could also see my review for that as well. But Snap Wexley mentioned something about him being at the Battle of Jakku when he was 16, so it's cool because, you know, we're getting these characters from the different medias of canon, so that's ultimately something I've really been looking forward to, is having enough source material so now they're able to pull from this and that, and it's just making this ecosystem, which is just really interesting. So that is what I thought about Poe Dameron #1. I think this might be, I mean, this has the potential to be my favorite Star Wars comic, because I mean, just it's like the super group. We got Charles Soule and we got Phil Noda. Love both their works, and they've both done Star Wars, so these guys know what they're doing, and they set us up with a great adventure for Poe Dameron. So what'd you guys think of Poe Dameron #1? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is it on the right track? I want to keep this discussion going, so please talk in the comment section below. And while you're at it, hit that thumbs up symbol if you like the video. And if you like this video, you might want to subscribe to my channel, where you'll also find other videos such as my review for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. You can follow me on Twitter at StarRaptor, as well as like my Facebook page at StarRaptor. Thanks for watching, guys, and may the Force be with you.